Ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk to those of you who feel stuck, frustrated, and lost in life. Perhaps you wake up each morning dreading your job. You feel unfulfilled, like you are simply existing rather than truly living. I am here today to remind you that work is not a punishment. It is a platform. You were not meant to wander aimlessly from one job to another just to get by. No, you were created with a specific purpose, and that purpose is tied to your work. Not just any job, but your divine assignment. Work has often been reduced to just a means of survival, a paycheck to cover expenses, a routine that repeats itself over and over again, and a responsibility that many dread. But work was never meant to be a burden. It was meant to be a path for purpose. When people view their work solely as a way to survive, they become trapped in cycles of dissatisfaction, frustration, and burnout. They wake up every day counting down the hours until they can leave, and they live for the weekends, hoping for moments of relief. This is not how life was meant to be. True fulfillment does not come from the size of your paycheck, but from the impact you make through the work you do. Every person was created with a unique gift, something inside you that sets you apart. This gift is the key to your life's assignment. Money is necessary, but it should never be the primary motivation for your work. There are people earning six-figure salaries who still feel empty because they are not operating in their true calling. Others may not have all the material wealth in the world, yet they are rich in purpose, waking up each day with a fire inside them. The difference is not in the income, but in the alignment with purpose. When you align your work with your purpose, you step into a realm of fulfillment that no amount of money can provide. Many people think that earning more will bring them happiness, but studies show that beyond a certain point, money doesn't increase satisfaction. What truly brings joy is a sense of meaning, the realization that your work is making a difference in the world. Some of the wealthiest people in history still felt lost because wealth without purpose is empty. On the other hand, some of the most impactful people were not necessarily the richest, but they dedicated themselves to something greater than personal gain. When work is all about money, people make decisions out of fear rather than faith. They stay in jobs that drain them, not because they are called to be there, but because they fear losing financial security. They ignore the inner voice urging them to step into their true purpose because they worry about how they will sustain themselves. But the truth is that provision follows purpose. When you are operating in your gift, doors open, opportunities arise, and resources come from places you never expected. The world pays for value, and when someone maximizes their unique gift, they naturally attract abundance. Many people spend years climbing the corporate ladder only to realize they were leaning against the wrong wall. They chase positions, titles, and promotions, hoping that the next level will bring the fulfillment they long for. Yet with every new achievement, the feeling of emptiness remains. This is because external success can never replace internal purpose. True success is not measured by how much you earn, but by how much you contribute. It is found in knowing that your work is leaving a lasting impact, changing lives, and fulfilling a divine assignment. Some of the most successful people didn't start with wealth, but with vision. They understood that their work was a vehicle for something greater than themselves. They focused on serving, solving problems, and bringing solutions to the world. As a result, wealth followed them, not because they chased it, but because they created value. There is a big difference between working for money and working for impact. When you work for money, you become a slave to your paycheck. But when you work for impact, money becomes a byproduct of your service. When you discover your purpose and align it with your work, everything changes. You no longer wake up dreading Monday mornings. You no longer feel exhausted just thinking about work. Instead, you embrace each day with passion, knowing your efforts are contributing to something meaningful. You see challenges as opportunities rather than obstacles, and you approach your tasks with excellence, recognizing that your work is part of your divine assignment. Work was never meant to be something you escape from. It was meant to be an opportunity to express your gifts, make a difference, and fulfill your purpose in life. When work becomes an extension of purpose, it transforms from a duty into a privilege. Instead of living for the weekend, you begin living for the mission. Instead of being consumed by the need to survive, you become driven by the desire to serve. This is the shift that leads to true fulfillment, working not for a paycheck, but for a purpose that transcends the present moment. Many people view work as something to endure, a necessary evil they must tolerate just to survive. They see it as a burden, something to be completed simply because it provides for their needs. This view comes from a misunderstanding of what work is really about. Work is not a curse, it is a calling. It is an opportunity to worship God through the labor of your hands, the skills you've developed, and the service you provide to others. At its core, work is an expression of who you are. It is the vehicle through which you fulfill your purpose on earth. It is a sacred act, not just a means to an end. The Bible makes it clear that everything we do should be done for the glory of God, whether in word or deed. When you begin to see your work as an extension of God's assignment for your life, it transforms from a task into a divine privilege. In the beginning, when God created man, he gave him work to do in the Garden of Eden. Adam was tasked with tending the garden and naming the animals. This was not a punishment, it was a partnership. Work was a means of participating in God's creation. Likewise, today your work is not the result of the fall, it is part of God's plan for your life. It is an opportunity to join with Him in the ongoing creation of the world around you. Whether you are a teacher, a doctor, a janitor, or an entrepreneur, your work is an extension of His will and purpose. When you see your labor as worship, you stop viewing it as something you simply get through. Instead, it becomes a way to honor God, a way to reflect His glory. This shift in perspective will change everything. It will change how you approach your job, how you engage with your co-workers, and how you treat your clients or customers. When your work becomes worship, excellence is no longer optional. It becomes a natural outpouring of your heart. You give your best because you know your work reflects who God is in you. You understand that by doing your work excellently, you are honoring the one who created you. Excellence is not perfection, but it is the pursuit of the highest standard possible. Excellence is rooted in diligence, attention to detail, and a desire to contribute meaningfully. When you work with excellence, you honor the gift that has been entrusted to you. You show that you understand the significance of your work and its impact on the world. When you approach work as worship, you become less concerned with how others perceive you and more focused on how your efforts align with God's plan for your life. This mindset shifts your attitude from one of mere duty to one of devotion. When you approach your work as worship, you begin to ask yourself how you can serve God through it. It might be through offering exceptional service to your customers, delivering your best performance in a team meeting, or showing integrity and kindness in your dealings with others. Whatever the task, when done with the mindset of honoring God, it becomes an act of worship. Furthermore, this perspective changes your view of challenges. Instead of seeing difficult tasks or difficult people as obstacles, you see them as opportunities for growth. When you are working for God, you realize that every challenge is an opportunity to deepen your character, develop new skills, and reflect God's goodness. You no longer avoid tough situations, you face them head-on, knowing that God has equipped you for the task at hand. Moreover, work becomes more meaningful when viewed as an opportunity to contribute to the common good. Your labor is not just for your personal benefit or financial gain, it is a means to serve others and make the world a better place. Whether you are building, teaching, healing, or managing, the impact of your work extends far beyond the immediate task. It touches lives, changes environments, and transforms communities. When you approach your work with a worshipful mindset, you take pride in the service you provide. You understand that you are fulfilling a divine purpose, and you do so with intention, integrity, passion, and dedication. When work becomes worship, it becomes more than just a job. It becomes a calling, a mission, a service to God and humanity. It is no longer something you have to do. It becomes something you are privileged to do. You don't need to be in a church to worship God. Your workplace can become your sanctuary. You don't need to be leading a ministry to honor God. Your work can be your ministry. Every task, every responsibility, every project is an opportunity to serve God with excellence. When you view your work this way, you are no longer just earning a paycheck. You are fulfilling a divine calling, and that transforms how you see your labor and how you live your life. Each person was born with a unique gift, something that sets them apart from others and is meant to be used for a greater purpose. Too many people live their lives in the shadow of uncertainty, feeling as though they are destined for a life of struggle, confusion, or mediocrity. But that's not the truth. You are not created to live in uncertainty, constantly questioning your place in the world. God, in His infinite wisdom, has placed a special gift inside of you, one that when fully developed will open doors no man can shut. This gift is not something external that you need to search for. It is not something you can buy or learn. It is already within you, waiting to be discovered, nurtured, and used to fulfill your purpose. The challenge is not finding the gift, it's developing it. Too often, people waste their time chasing external validation, seeking approval from others, or looking for the next opportunity, not realizing that the door they are searching for is already inside of them. Your gift is what will bring you before great people. It's the key that will unlock opportunities you never imagined. The Bible tells us that a man's gift makes room for him and brings him before great men. This is not a metaphor, it's a principle. Your gift, whether it's your creativity, leadership ability, problem-solving skills, talent for communication, or any other unique trait, has the power to propel you forward in ways that your qualifications or credentials cannot. When you learn to operate in your gift, you will attract the right opportunities, the right people, and the right environments. Many people remain stuck in unfulfilling jobs or relationships because they have not yet tapped into their God-given gift. They spend their lives trying to fit into places where they don't belong, using their energy to perform tasks that were never meant for them. The moment you recognize your gift and begin to cultivate it, things will begin to shift. You will stop competing for opportunities because your gift will make room for you. The doors that once seemed closed will open, not by your effort, but by the force of your gift. It's important to remember that your gift is not just for you, it's for the world. The gifts you've been given were meant to serve others, bring value, and make a difference. When you operate in your gift, you elevate not only your own life, but the lives of those around you. Your gift is an answer to a problem, a solution to a need, and a light in a dark place. When you walk in your purpose, you become a catalyst for change. There is also a key element to developing your gift: discipline. Gifts are not fully realized overnight. They require time, effort, and a commitment to growth. Many individuals begin with a gift, but they never see it reach its full potential because they either neglect it or are afraid to put in the hard work. Developing your gift requires dedication. It involves stepping outside of your comfort zone, learning new skills, and refining your abilities. It also requires a willingness to fail, try again, and learn from mistakes to grow through challenges. One of the greatest mistakes people make is assuming that their gift has to be something everyone can immediately recognize or validate. They think that if their gift isn't as visible or popular as someone else's, it must not be valuable. However, that is far from the truth. Your gift is not defined by how many people see it or how quickly it is recognized. It's valuable simply because it was given to you, and it has the potential to transform your life when you nurture it, develop it, and put it to use. Eventually, as you continue to grow, the world will begin to take notice, and doors will open. Beyond personal growth, it is crucial to recognize that your gift has an eternal impact. When you operate in your purpose, you contribute to something much larger than yourself. You become a channel through which God's plan is carried out on earth. The unique gift within you was placed there for a reason, and it will guide you to the places you need to be. By being faithful to develop your gift and using it for the greater good, you become part of a divine partnership with eternal ripple effects. It's time to stop viewing your struggles, your uncertainties, and your fears as obstacles. These are merely components of the process of unveiling your gift. Instead of fixating on the challenges, focus on nurturing your gift. Invest in yourself, enhance your skills, and trust that God has already laid out the path forward. When you step into your gift with faith, doors will open that no one can close. You were not born to struggle in uncertainty. You were born to succeed in fulfilling your purpose, and your gift is the key to unlocking that success. Life's problems are often seen as obstacles or setbacks, things to avoid or endure. This mindset, however, can limit your potential and prevent you from recognizing the opportunities that reside within each challenge. In reality, every problem is an invitation, a call to rise up and show the value you bring to the world. Problems are not to be feared or resented, they are to be embraced as opportunities to demonstrate your ability to solve, innovate, and make a lasting impact. The world doesn't reward those who simply complain about problems. It rewards those who actively solve them. Whether in the workplace, in relationships, or in society, people are always in search of solutions. Those who identify problems and offer solutions become invaluable, while those who only point out issues without contributing to the resolution are often overlooked. Success in life doesn't come from avoiding problems, but from learning how to use them as stepping stones to prove your worth. Think of the greatest leaders, entrepreneurs, and change-makers in history. Each of them faced immense challenges, yet instead of being defeated, they saw each problem as a chance to create something new. They viewed the problems they faced as opportunities to serve others, improve systems, and make a positive impact. Whether it was Thomas Edison's repeated failures in inventing the light bulb or Nelson Mandela's battle against apartheid, these individuals confronted enormous obstacles but saw them as platforms for change. They didn't complain about their difficulties. They worked tirelessly to solve them, and in doing so, they became icons in their respective fields. Problems are not signs that something is wrong, they are signals that something needs fixing, improving, or transforming. Every problem, big or small, offers an opportunity to display creativity, resilience, and resourcefulness. When you approach problems with a mindset of innovation rather than frustration, you start to see them as challenges that hold the potential for growth. Problems are invitations to step into your purpose and showcase the unique talents you have to offer. In business, many of the most successful companies began by identifying and solving problems. Companies like Uber, Airbnb, and Amazon started as solutions to specific needs or gaps in the market. These entrepreneurs saw societal problems and used their creativity to come up with solutions that revolutionized industries. They didn't focus on the difficulties in their way, they concentrated on the opportunities their problems presented. The world doesn't pay for complaints, it pays for the value created in response to a problem. The same principle applies to your personal life. The problems you face, whether they are financial struggles, relational challenges, or health issues, are not just burdens to bear, they are invitations to grow. They push you to think outside the box, develop creative solutions, and build resilience. These challenges provide opportunities to become stronger, wiser, and better equipped to face whatever comes next. Life's challenges aren't meant to break you. They are there to shape you into someone capable of overcoming even greater obstacles. How you respond to these challenges ultimately determines your success. If you allow problems to defeat you, discourage you, or make you feel helpless, you'll remain stuck in a cycle of frustration and limitation. However, if you view problems as opportunities to learn, create, and serve, you open yourself up to the possibility of growth, success, and fulfillment. Problems are not roadblocks, they are stepping stones on your journey toward your purpose. Furthermore, solving problems not only improves your life, but also benefits others around you. Each solution you provide is a service to others. Whether it's resolving a technical issue, guiding someone through a tough time, or making a process more efficient, your problem-solving abilities impact the world in ways you may not immediately see. The more problems you solve, the more value you bring to the table, and you position yourself as someone indispensable. People are always seeking those who can provide solutions, who can turn challenges into opportunities, and who can improve situations. The more you develop your problem-solving skills, the more you will be sought after and rewarded. Life is full of problems, some expected and others unexpected, but the key to success isn't to avoid them or complain about them. The key is to view each problem as an opportunity to rise to the occasion, demonstrate your value, and create solutions that make a difference. The world rewards those who solve problems, not those who dwell on them. So the next time you face a challenge, remember that it is not a burden, but an invitation to show the world your potential and the value you carry. In today's world, it's easy to fall into the trap of chasing money. Many people believe that wealth is something to be pursued relentlessly, and they spend their time and energy focused on acquiring it. Yet this approach often leads to frustration, burnout, and a sense of emptiness. The truth is, you don't need to chase money. Instead, you must learn how to attract it. Wealth is not something that can be obtained through force or desperation. It follows those who cultivate their gifts and serve others with excellence. When you focus on becoming valuable, money will come as a natural result of your efforts. The key to attracting wealth isn't to chase money for its own sake, but to focus on becoming the best version of yourself. Developing your skills and contributing your gifts to the world is what will draw others to you. It is your value that attracts the rewards that come with the impact you create. People pay for what they perceive as valuable. If you're a person of value, the opportunities to exchange your talents for compensation will naturally present themselves. To attract wealth, you must first understand that it is your unique abilities, talents, and gifts that hold the potential to bring prosperity into your life. Every person is born with something special, a gift that, when nurtured, can create value for others. This gift may not always be immediately obvious, and it may take years of growth and dedication to develop, but once it is honed, it becomes a powerful tool for creating opportunities. The key is not to chase material rewards, but to focus on mastering your craft and offering your best to the world. When you serve others with excellence, you position yourself as an expert in your field, and people will seek you out for your expertise. Wealth is a direct result of the value you provide. When your work solves problems, meets needs, or makes life easier for others, you create a demand for your services. The more you focus on serving others with integrity and excellence, the more your value increases. With this increase in value comes the financial rewards. This mindset shift is essential. Stop chasing money. Instead, focus on developing your gift and serving others with excellence. Money is simply a tool, a resource that flows to those who add value. When you attract money by becoming a person of value, it will no longer be something you chase. It will come to you naturally as a result of your work and the impact you have on others. One of the biggest misconceptions about wealth is that it only comes from having a high-paid job or a lucrative career. While these paths can provide financial stability, they are not the only routes to wealth. Wealth can be found in any field, from the arts to business to service industries. As long as you are committed to offering value, whether you are a teacher, a writer, a designer, or a mechanic, if you develop your skills and serve others with excellence, the financial rewards will follow. The truth is, when you become truly valuable to others, you won't need to chase money. Money will come looking for you because people will recognize the worth in what you do. Wealth, however, doesn't come overnight. It requires time, patience, and perseverance. You must be willing to put in the effort to develop your skills and serve others with excellence. Wealth is also a reflection of your mindset. If you believe that money is hard to come by, or that it must be chased, you'll find that your efforts are met with frustration. But when you shift your mindset to one of abundance, recognizing that there is enough for everyone and that wealth follows value, you will open yourself up to endless opportunities. Attracting wealth is about aligning yourself with your purpose, cultivating your gifts, and serving others with excellence. When you pour your energy into what you do, not for the sake of money, but because you genuinely want to make a difference, you become a magnet for financial success. Focus on the value you bring to others, and money will naturally follow as a result of your contributions. The key is to stop chasing money and become the person who attracts it. When you do this, wealth will find its way into your life in ways you never imagined. True success isn't about accumulating wealth in your lifetime. It's about what you leave behind, a legacy that continues to impact and inspire long after you're gone. The ultimate goal in life shouldn't be to simply survive, climb a ladder of status, or accumulate personal wealth. Instead, your mission on Earth is to create something that transcends your lifetime, a legacy that will keep blessing and inspiring future generations. This idea might seem counterintuitive in a world that values short-term success, but the greatest fulfillment comes from contributing something meaningful that doesn't rely on your presence. The greatest men and women in history weren't remembered for their wealth, titles, or temporary achievements. They were remembered for creating something that... The idea of outlasting others is something that has continued to benefit humanity long after they are gone. The idea of working until you are no longer needed doesn't imply abandoning your responsibilities, withdrawing from the world, or retiring prematurely. Instead, it involves reaching a stage where the systems, ideas, or contributions you have put in place are able to sustain themselves. It's about empowering others to carry on the work you started, helping those around you discover their own purpose, and establishing systems that can operate without your constant involvement. The legacy you leave behind is not about doing everything yourself, but about making others capable of continuing the mission you initiate. Look at some of history's greatest leaders, innovators, and visionaries. They didn't construct empires that were solely reliant on them. Rather, they laid the foundations, created systems, and sparked movements that continue to influence society long after their passing. Figures like Martin Luther King Jr., Mahatma Gandhi, and Nelson Mandela all left legacies that continue to shape our world. Their work did not end with their deaths. It was designed to outlast them and remains a source of inspiration and change. True success is measured by the legacy you leave behind, by the lives you touch, the values you instill in others, and the work you set in motion that keeps yielding results. This can mean passing on knowledge, establishing lasting institutions, or creating systems that continue to provide value to others. It could also be as simple as training a new generation of leaders, who are better equipped than you to carry out the work you began. Whatever your unique mission may be, it should involve empowering others to take your place once your time here is done. The impact you have is not determined by how much you personally achieve, but by how much you help others accomplish. You may be the spark that ignites a movement, but its true power lies in its ability to continue even after that initial spark has faded. The fame, wealth, or recognition you acquire will eventually diminish with time, but the legacy of your work, whether through the lives you've touched or the positive change you've created, will endure. Moreover, working until you are no longer needed calls you to focus on significance, not just success. Significance transcends achieving personal goals or accumulating wealth. It's about making a meaningful difference in the lives of others, whether in your community or even the wider world. Significance is about creating lasting value that matters to others, value that leads to positive change, that transforms lives and improves situations in a way that is sustainable. To reach this level of significance, you must adopt a mindset of service and long-term vision. You must prioritize the growth of others, invest in them, and equip them with the tools and knowledge needed to succeed. When you focus on making others better, you multiply your impact, creating a ripple effect that extends far beyond what you could accomplish alone. It's not enough to simply do your job well or fulfill your own needs. Your ultimate responsibility is to create a legacy that lives on long after you've done your part, one that continues to shape the future and serve others after you're gone. In practical terms, this means taking intentional steps to ensure your work doesn't fade over time. It might involve documenting your knowledge, passing on your wisdom, mentoring the next generation of leaders, or building systems that can run independently. It's about creating something of enduring value, a legacy that doesn't depend on your presence to thrive. Work until you are no longer needed, and in doing so, you will create something that outlives you. Something that will continue to benefit others and serve its purpose for years to come. Ultimately, your life and work are not simply about what you accomplish during your time here. They are about the lasting impact you leave behind. It's about creating something that serves others and endures beyond your lifetime. The true measure of success is not determined by what you have in the present moment, but by how much you've given, how much you've contributed, and how much of your work continues to make a difference long after you've completed your journey. As we conclude today, remember this: life is not about chasing fleeting success, accumulating material possessions, or constructing temporary monuments. True greatness doesn't come from what you achieve in your lifetime, but from what you leave behind. Your purpose is not merely to work, but to create, to build, to inspire, and to serve in such a way that your legacy becomes a living testament to the impact you've made on the world. Work until you are no longer needed, not just for the accolades or applause, but for the lasting transformation you bring to the lives of others. Let your gifts, talents, and work be the seed that continues to bear fruit long after you've passed. You were not born simply to exist. You were born to make a difference, one that will echo through generations. So rise up and begin working with purpose, serve with excellence, solve the problems that will change the world, and leave behind a legacy that inspires others to answer their own calling. When you live this way, wealth will find you, success will follow, and true fulfillment will embrace you. Remember, your life is your assignment. When you fulfill it with passion, purpose, and excellence, you will leave an imprint on the world that no one and nothing can erase. Let us not chase after the temporary, but commit ourselves to work that lasts. Let us work in such a way that we become the solution the world is waiting for. In doing so, we will create a legacy that stands as a monument to the greatness within each of us. This is the work of life, the assignment you were born to fulfill. And when you walk in this purpose, you will never be forgotten, for your impact will endure for generations to come.